What is going on? What is going on? You are watching and, of course, listening to Tags Live, aka Talk About Gay Sex, the live edition. We're here every Wednesday evening. Happy Hump Day for those of you watching us live. I am your host, Stevie, alongside Kodi Maurice Doggette. How the hell you doing, Kodi?
Hello, darling. I'm doing wonderful. My skin is glowing. I'm feeling fabulous. How are you?
I am glowing as well in Puerto
You certainly are.
Vallarta over here. So very happy to be doing this on Central Time. You're on East Coast
I
time.
know.
And we have a special guest joining us who's going to be on West Coast time, Pacific Standard Time.
Wow.
And I'm talking about our guest, Frank Arthur Smith, with his brand new series, Open to It. It's really funny. I've watched all three episodes so far. I hear there's a fourth one coming out soon. We'll get all the tea on that, but it's all about polyamory, and we're going to get that distinction between open relationships, polyamory, the inspiration for writing this series. It's going to be a lot of fun, right?
Oh, yeah. I can't wait. He's fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Well, we've got to get into some hot topics before we bring him on. And, some good news. I felt like last episode we were a little bit darker, but
right?
we got some good news coming, which if you're a fan of Noah's Ark, the series, remember that the iconic series Noah's Ark is set to return on our screens as the show's creator, Patrick Ian Polk, confirmed the news himself at the We Speak Out USA's second annual I Am Awards. And he was receiving an award, I believe, but this has gotten gay Twitter going nuts because, we had the series which debuted in 2005 for the 15th anniversary. I don't know if you watched this, but they did a virtual reunion in 2020.
Did I watch?
And I had Christian Vincent, who did he play?
He played Ricky.
Yeah. I had him on a very short-lived show that we did. If you're like a true fan of TAGSPodcast, you will remember I did Sex with Stevie during the pandemic, I think. And it was just me, and I had people call in. Well, I had Christian call in, and this is when people got introduced to you, Kodi, because you would call in at the end of the show, right? And we would break it down on like a phone version. It was very radio, I think, that show that we did, right?
It was fun. I loved it. Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. And I remember you were very excited because you were a big fan of Christian Vincent and Noah's Ark in general. How excited are you for this? And what does this even mean for the culture of LGBTQ+?
20-something-year-old me is jumping for joy, hooting and hollering. I am so excited. I saw this and I immediately posted this to my Instagram. I'm not really on Twitter like that, just for porn. And so many people responded to it positively. People that came out of the woodwork that said that this was such an amazing show for them that I never would have guessed. This show has meant so much to so many people, including myself. The representation is out of the park, and I could not be happier. I just am so excited.
Yeah, it was like the little show it only had 2 seasons, if you really think about it, right? Yeah. And that reunion special. But I
had a movie too, Jump in the Broom.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about the movie. Thank you for that. On the big screen, I remember that exactly. And I just think it's that one of those shows that was such a feel-good, like you said, represented so many of us underrepresented people in the TV arena. So for Black culture, for people of color, it just really resonated with so many of us to finally see ourselves on the screen depicted in ways that, Patrick Ian Polk has such a flavor of writing that he can write all these types of characters. And there were so many diverse characters on there too, that not just one type. that I think, and I love that format, that Sex in the City format that shows like Harlem. I don't know if you ever watched that
I
on
love Harlem
Prime.
Prime, Amazon
Harlem.
Prime. Yes.
Oh, and they've got some great, lesbian bisexuality depiction on there too.
Yes.
We like that formula of, looking for people that really tell her story that Sex in the City really did such a good job of. I mean, we could even say the Golden Girls,
That's right. They were the originals. Right.
we
You're
like
right.
that's a recipe for success. And when it really represents you, Golden Girls was people of a certain age. Noah's Ark is, people of color,
That's
and
right.
just so yay happy.
I am so happy because it like you were saying, it represented Black people and people of color in a way that we hadn't seen before. We had Queer as Folk, but I don't know if I saw one Black person the entire time on
Yeah.
Queer as Folk. We had Will and Grace, and they had Black people on there. But I think that this was the first time that we got to tell, as Black people and people of color, we got to tell our stories the way that we wanted to, and we actually had stories to tell. So I think this is beautiful. The first 2 seasons of Noah's Ark are actually on Paramount Plus right now. I'm going to be watching with my boyfriend because he's never seen it an episode before, so it's
Oh
going to be
my
great.
God, I'm so excited. Oh, and little known fact so I knew Christian, I met him in LA, we became friends, and I also knew Daryl Stevens from the show because Daryl went to UC Berkeley
Oh,
when I
really?
was there too, and we actually would wave and say hi to each other all the time. So yeah, and I met Patrick Ian Polk for an Outfest. They did a person of color version of Outfest once, and he was lovely. So we are live on a Wednesday night, and keep those comments coming in, ask your questions, and we will get to you. Our next story, though, we want to talk about, I feel like a very brave move that wasn't even necessary. Many of us all know actor Cheyenne Jackson, who has just been in so much. I saw him on the Broadway stage in Xanadu, the musical, which was a lot of fun, but he's done so much. His star has risen like incredibly, so gorgeous. I didn't know he was sober, and he took to his social media recently to say he fell off the wagon after 10 years of sobriety. And he wrote, "Vulnerable is what I'm feeling today," he began. "After nearly a decade of sobriety, I fell off the wagon. I've been carrying a lot of shame, scared to share it, but I know it can help someone. Here I go. I didn't want to disappoint anyone who has looked up to me as a sober person, so I've been just bearing it away. I took my eye off the ball. I stopped doing what I needed to do to keep myself on the path of my personal integrity. I could blame it on COVID. I could blame it on the state of the world, mass shootings, a nation divided, the death of my co-star," he's talking about Leslie Jordan, "but the truth is I thought I had it all handled. I thought I got this, but I don't. I am a work in progress always." His husband immediately came and showed his support on social media and backed him up. And he sounds like a great support system. He didn't need to do this, Kodi.
No, not at all.
And what were your thoughts when you heard that he did do this? Because it really put him in a, that's really unveiling a lot of yourself.
It really is. It's opening yourself up to so much scrutiny. It's opening yourself. It's really being vulnerable, and I'm so proud of him. This announcement is going to help so many people because when you live with shame like that, and you hold a secret in, it can really feel like it just feels awful, and it feels like you are really kind of sequestering yourself and you're doing something all alone. So the reason that this helps so many people, celebrities coming out with the things that their trials and tribulations, is because we know them and to some degree. So we can associate with them, and we can really just kind of really feel with them. And this is going to just help so many people. And I'm so proud of him. It's really lovely.
Yeah, and like I said before, he didn't necessarily have to do this. There wasn't a mugshot of him. He didn't have this DUI moment that TMZ's picking up, and all of a sudden it's like, okay, yeah, so let me just come out with my statement. He did it for people. He realizes he's a leader, a leader in the community, our LGBTQ plus community, and so I just think it's very brave. And Keep fighting the good fight, Cheyenne. We are here
we
for
wish
you.
him
It
nothing
sounds-
but the best.
Yeah,
Yes.
it sounds like he's got this, and I love it. So for all those that can relate to that, okay, moving on to this is kind of a fun story because apparently there's a trend right now on Twitter, or has been, where gay men are sharing their twink evolutions on Twitter. And
oh, really?
Yes. I'm not exactly sure why, but I'll post this on TAGSPodcast.com of several people doing this. I've never really been a fan of those games where you show yourself 10 years ago. Remember the 10-year challenge? I think there's been the 20-year challenge, because there's always speculation for, do I look worse than I did before? But I do think this one's a fun one, and we're going to play along with this on this show right now.
All right.
Because so I do actually like this game. I think it's cute and fun. And we all had a moment where we were a twink, air quoted there. Can you post those pictures of us?
I think I've never been a twink before.
But... Wait, start with yours first, Kodi, because you are definitely a twink. Do it. Post it on. All right, start with mine.
Okay, all right.
I don't want dead air. Let's go. Some of your people watching us live are okay. Here we go.
This is Steve.
So this isn't really me as a twink. I have to say it was me at 17 years old, and then me like a month ago, and on the right there. So those of you listening, I will post this on TAGSPodcast.com when this drops. You will see it. You can watch the video version on YouTube. I think I kind of look similar.
You look
to
the same.
I mean, obviously, doughier skin and, bigger eyes, like more deer in headlight eyes, I think, if anything, and more curls going on and a little more gray on the right, but not dramatic. Some people really in those pictures that we'll also post that link on look dramatically
different.
different.
Completely different.
Completely
I was like,
are you sure that's really you?
What kind of, oh no, that was going to be a horrible thought. Never mind. I'm not going to say that. No, okay,
what happened over the last 20 years?
What kind of life have you led? I want to read that
Apparently
book.
A really good one is what I'm imagining. And they're maybe paying the price now. I don't know. But but yeah.
All right. Okay, I'm going to show mine now. Are you guys ready?
Yeah,
go. In the comments, you can let us know whether or not I look the same or if I look different now.
Oh my God, I love this.
Definitely had more hair.
You look the same, really, to be honest. I mean, but you have something that my college friend told me the other day. So we went to college. He knew me as a twink. We're both in our early 50s now. He said something to me about, I had the same body that you had too, where it was just uber lean.
Those cheekbones are cheekboning right there.
And I know, look at those arms and just super lean. And so but I think you look adorable then.
Oh, thank you. I was like 26, 27 here. So, I mean, I know I was looking for even older pics, but I was like, okay, I ran out of time. I have my going down to MySpace.
The lips look so plump. Oh my God. Callie Dad says Steve would have had me pondering jail.
Oh my goodness.
I'm glad we didn't meet, because I wouldn't want you behind bars. I want you listening to our show. Thank you very much. Yes. So super fun. If you had to tell yourself something, Kodi, twink Kodi, what would you tell yourself?
Oh, this is like RuPaul's Drag Race.
It is, darling.
I would tell younger Kodi that you live your life to the fullest. I know you already are, because you're out in Miami in that picture. And that one day you will find love, and you will be able to give it in return, and it's going to be so special. So, and you'll find your tribe, which I feel like I have, really. So it's so fabulous. What about you? What would you tell younger Steve?
I would say keep that positive spark that you have, that believing in people, the goodness in not only people, but life and what life has to offer. Like, there's a whole world out there. Keep looking to the stars, because you're going to go through some evolutions and changes. You're going to go through some people, but you're ultimately just going to find that positive attitude that I still have today, that half glass full attitude. Somebody just told me that the other day here in Puerto Vallarta. They said, they've known me for years. They said, you always have such a positive outlook. I said, what other choice can I have, right? I mean, not if you listen to episode 459, though. Other than that.
No, you really can do. You really actually are. So
yeah, I try. So I would say that. And Oleg, who we shouted out to, I don't know if you heard us, Oleg, on episode 459. He's watching us live tonight. Says, yes, positivity is a success. So thank you, Oleg. Are you still in Puerto Vallarta? Question. Okay, moving on.
He put it in the comments. I don't. Yeah, but
okay.
I'll tell you later, girl.
Okay. This next one, before we bring on our special guest, we really kind of caught our attention. It was a Reddit thread, and 9 times out of 10 on the Reddit threads, they're really asking for advice. Mm-hmm. I'll say on this one, it really wasn't advice, right, Kodi? It was really a call to open your mind a little bit. And this person wrote dick and disability. So just go with this. This is less about Grindr and more about the lack of awareness around people with disabilities having sex and sexual compatibility within the LGBTQIA community. Last night, I got a message from a blank profile on Grindr asking if cerebral palsy, CP, affects my cock. It's stated on my profile that I have CP. I can't hide it and don't want to hide it, even if I could. Anyway, this very blatant question was asked without even a hello or introduction. I know it's Grindr. My expectations are very minuscule, but I'm tired of the ignorance. I've been asked this in gay venues before as well. Yes, my dick works just fine. Also, we live in the age of Google, where most of us have access to credible resources. If you know where to look. Also, if you got to ask, at least try and be polite and respectful. I don't mind curiosity, but if you're just flat out rude, you won't get far with me. Sexual activity is a range of activity which does not always have to include genitalia, penetration, or climax. Touching, kissing, massage, love nipples, dirty talk, body contact, etc. are all great forms of sexual activity, although they may seem tame to those who have a more rigid definition of sex. Mm-hmm. Anyway, after I told the blank profile that my dick does work, and I love that, and that his ignorance was very unattractive, the guy then says, wow, this just further proves that people with disability are assholes. Can you believe that?
That's crazy.
Do better. Okay. Your ignorance is my problem, is what the guy wrote. My whole point here is, if you're curious, ask. Please don't be rude. People with disabilities vary in ability and capability. Mm-hmm. I get it. Being respectful is much more attractive than being a horny, uncaring barbarian. And thanks for reading. And we thank you for writing that. Yes. Because I think, we want to give voice to all people, sexualities. And I just think, what were your thoughts when you heard that really quick?
This is crazy. And I'm so glad that this was posted. And so our community, society in general, everybody needs to be hearing this, because just because you are anything and fill in the blank, that doesn't mean that you're not horny, that you don't want to have sex. If somebody has something that, if sex is the next step, then the person that has an issue, if they have an issue, will tell you. They will let you know before that actually arises. Okay, you don't want to preclude it by thinking that sex is inevitable or what have you. Just enjoy being in the moment. I can tell you that I have had sex with someone with a disability. He was hearing impaired. We vibed out.
And actually, they're called deaf now too, because we learned that too. And I learned that because on our 100th anniversary of episode 100, we had a sign language person sign, and they corrected me, and I was felt so bad, and they said, no, you didn't know, but now you know.
Now I know.
Deaf. Yeah,
just like now I know.
They didn't want to. They're not. Impaired. Yeah.
They're deaf. I had sex with a deaf person, and we vibed out in the club. We kikied, we laughed, and then I took him home, and I blew his brains out. I blew his back out. Sorry, not his brains. I fucked his brains out is what I wanted to say. I mixed up two analogies right there. Oh my God. But yeah, it was an amazing time. And once I got over that hump of me getting over my insecurities and my hangups, we had an amazing time. So yeah, Go ahead.
We have live comments, but why don't you bring on our special guest? And the comment comes from our special guest who wrote, when people are so immediately triggered into assholery like that, they did not get raised right and they are not living right. I love that, Frank Smith. And great timing to bring on our very special guest, which is Frank Smith. Did you invite him to the stage?
I sure did. He should be accepting very soon.
There we go. I love that. Yes. Let's see if we can get him on right now.
There he is.
Here he comes.
I'm clearly itching to come on. I'm like, comment.
I love it. I love it. Yes, thank you for that.
Of course. No,
go. Finish your comment. Yeah.
No, I was gonna say, I just you got me hyped right away because I actually, in the show, we have like deaf casting crew who work on it, and Matt, my fiance, and I are taking American Sign Language lessons, so that just immediately pissed me off of like, first of all, painting all disabled people with the same brush. Not all disabled people have the same needs. There's so much wrong with what he said, but like additionally, like, why are you so ready to be like, all blank people are this? Like, what? I don't understand the curiosity, the jerky curiosity that then turns into, well, you just proved my point. Like, what is it? I promise you a disabled person has not ruined this person's life. And it just, that level of bigotry really rubs me the wrong way. So like, as it would any human anyway.
Coming on the show.
Speak on it.
I love it. Let me just introduce you. We love a good
okay. Now anyways, that guy was a
Yes. We want to welcome Frank Arthur Smith to the show with his brand new web series, Open to It. We're going to get into it. So much to talk about. First of all, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Yes. Let me just read a little bit here. Frank Smith is a queer writer and actor originally from Boston. He most recently worked in the writer's room on Raven's Home, the sequel to the hit series That's So Raven for Disney Channel. Previously, he wrote an animated pilot with, Turnante TV, developed a live action series with Vice Studios, and rewrote a horror movie with Fangoria Sinesta, The Standoff at Sparrow Creek. Welcome to the show, Frank.
Hi.
Yeah.
It's not completely updated. In addition to writing gay sex comedies, I'm also writing a cute little kids show called Ocean Explorers, which is about creatures exploring the ocean. My first episode just came out on YouTube this week. So
yeah.
Word.
Love that.
And you're so adorable in person too. I mean, I just watched the first 3 episodes of Open to It. If we were to describe it, it's basically about a couple. You play your character is Greg. Yes. Your partner's name is Cam. You're a couple. You've been together about 3 years. And all of a sudden and what I really loved about the show too is, and I was telling my sister who watched it with me, is that time is not wasted. Like, we get into the plot. And I think it's so important. You meet Princeton, really, speaking of twinks, which we were just talking about, an adorable twink.
I mean, twunk.
Yeah, right. Thank you very much. And the series is basically about the couplehood, but exploring, is it open relationships, polyamory? Why don't you tell us?
Sure. So yeah, it's they're figuring that out as they go. Because that, I think, is a very common way into it, is like, you don't necessarily, you have some rules up front, but then the rules get revised as you go along. So yeah, what I wanted to do is like have a sort of upbeat, joyous take on polyamory and open relationships, because so many of the takes I see in like gay series are often like, well, this couple's done for, and that just kind of like wasn't what I've experienced, what my friends have experienced. So yeah, I wanted to just do a different take, and sexy people can be funny too.
That's right.
Elwood's proved it, and we're here proving it now.
Well, Hey, since you bring it up, I was wondering what inspired you to create this show, and is it any way, shape, or form autobiographical? Because I swear that the characters are based on me and my boyfriend. Where you peek it through my window, I don't know. I am Cam, and my boyfriend is Greg for sure.
The show is based on Kodi. That is correct. No, so I would say like there are definitely elements that I'm pulling from my own life. Like of the first 3 episodes, each was kind of like very loosely inspired by something that happened to me and or my fiance. But then from episode 4 on, it very much just took off in its own direction because I really enjoyed the actors and what they were bringing to it, and just sort of being like, what else interesting has happened to me? Kind of like wasn't how I wanted to keep going. So it really, it becomes an exploration of these people and their, sexy, dirty, but heartfelt lives.
Yes.
Well, Teddy Alexis Rodriguez, watching us live, who's also co-hosted on this show before, said, I saw this on New Filmmakers last summer. It was so good. So you already have a fan out there. Anything adorable. Yeah.
Actually, today we found out, so New Filmmakers is this film festival. I really encourage people to go. It happens once a month. They have different themes every month. Like they have like a disability focused month, an Asian cinema focused month. And we premiered last June for their Pride programming. We're actually going to be back this June, if you live in Los Angeles, premiering episode 4 there in Los Angeles. And we found out today we were nominated for 2. Every year they do like Best of New Filmmakers Awards. We got nominated for Best New Media Experimental, and I got nominated for Best Comedy Performance. So I'm really excited.
What? Congratulations on that. That's major. Yeah, give us that link and we'll post this on show notes so people, where to go to watch all this stuff. So
yeah, absolutely.
Great. So back to, you're in a relationship, I think you mentioned, have you had conversations about throuple, open relationships, polyamory in your own relationship? And part 2 is, do you relate to your character, Greg, at all?
Yeah, what's interesting is like going into the series wasn't sure if I was going to, I knew I wanted to be in it, but I wasn't sure if I was going to play Greg or Cam. And then I was like, in the first episode, let's just say, like, if you haven't seen it, the boyfriend character Cam kind of doesn't get to participate in the threesome as much as he thought he would because he gets very, very sick. So I was like, okay, do I want to be the one on the toilet or the one who fucks? I'm playing, I got it.
So I would
decision.
The same thing too. Yeah.
And my friend was like, are you sure? That kind of makes you the villain. I'm like, villains are more fun. Look at
Yes, they are.
Okay.
Camp gay villain right here.
Get it, Jafar. I love it.
And this is my actually problem with the live action Disney movies is they take away the camp gay because I guess they feel that's homophobic, but then they're just not fun. They replace it with nothing. And I'm like, now we're just not memorable. So camp gay villains are okay if they're done respectfully. I think,
yeah, definitely. Yeah. Well, I love that you don't shy away from the messier, aka shittier, if you've seen the series. Parts of polyamory. Why did you find it important to show jealousy and cheating and all those types of themes in this show in polyamory?
I think because people have a lot of misconceptions around the concept, and it's one of those things that like I feel can come from just a desire to add another layer to your relationship. When before I even made the show, people would say things like, oh, so the couple's at the beginning of the end. And I was like, no. And they're like, oh, so what are they dissatisfied about in each other that they need to find someone else? And I was like, it's not that. It's like, this can be something you do together, a journey you go on together. And like the whole point is like, yeah, they experience missteps, silly, funny things happen, miscommunications happen. They need to like, make up for stuff sometimes, but ultimately this is a couple that really loves each other and is going to stay together. Like it was very important to me with this show and this couple that like I'm never dangling a breakup over them. Like that's just not the angle I want to pursue. Like maybe with other couples on the show, but with the central couple, like spoiler alert, they are staying together, they are working through stuff because that's the mature loving couple they are.
It's such a great state to be in right now, to be able to write material like this, to show the really diversity of couplehood. Like I feel like older shows had to really make it tragic or breakups or, oh my gosh, they're cheating. And it was a whole thing. And so I love that you're showing, no, I was just having a conversation with a friend of mine yesterday and he was saying, no, we are open, but we are in this together. We're solid. And things come up, but we are not at all letting this get in the way. One of my favorite things about the show, though, and I read a comment, I think it was your Queer Tea interview, where it was really important for you to show representation, and not just from the main characters, but there's a lesbian couple in there. Why was that so important to feature in Open to It?
I definitely stand on the shoulders of a lot of queer series who have like, you know, really influenced me and impacted me. At the same time, I feel like you used to see a lot of trends, one of which, like you said, like monogamy, kids was the goal. And also like a lot of, frankly, like white gay men having white gay problems. And I just feel like there is such an experience beyond that. Some of the characters are downright obnoxious sometimes. They're like, I have money and don't know what to do with my life. I'm like, this is not interesting.
Right.
Yeah, it's just for me with representation, it's always like, this is the world we live in. Like, mixed race gay couples exist, mixed race lesbian couples exist, disabled people exist. Like, of course, I'd love to, you know, show all of us at our best and funniest and messiest.
Yeah, absolutely. Kodi, I know you want to ask about your favorite show.
Well, speaking of diversity, I am and you highlight drag queens and so much in this show. I was obsessed because I saw RuPaul in the first episode and
on the toilet.
I know, I was thinking about that. We have Guru like on the toilet. I'm like, I'm not trying to send a message. I love RuPaul.
I was like, yes. No, I lived. Thank you so much for that. But why was it so important? What prompted you to bring that aspect of our culture to your show? Yeah, that's my question.
Similar answer of like, first of all, I'm obsessed. Like when I've told her this, like Laganja, when writing the first few episodes of this show, I just sort of would watch the physical lip sync to like get myself into it because it's one of my favorite lip syncs of all time in the show.
Oh my God.
Now I watch Boss Bitch every time because oh my God, this is wild.
So good. You got good taste. I like it. Go ahead.
And I think AOC like said it when she was on Drag Race, where she was like, you know, drag queens are the leaders of queer movements and the reason why we have the rights we have. And I've always felt that and seen that. And I just knew like when I was making the show, like they have to be part of this because we're going to have a gay ass party. There's nothing like a drag queen being part of the gay ass party.
I love it. You've had a little bit of time because this premiered at Outfest, correct? And I'm just curious, what's been the response about? I mean, I love the comedy, and I want to talk more about the comedy aspect and your comedy writing. But what's been the response that you've gotten for the polyamory community or people that are like the uncharted territory that we haven't really seen a whole lot of?
I've been very touched by the reception, honestly. Like I was on a podcast called Multiamory, which is all about like love and polyamory, and people like took to watching the show right away, had lovely things to say. And especially I think I was touched because, you know, it's a show that's very like queer focused. And sometimes I think, as with most filmmakers, are like, oh, if I'm too queer, will like straight people not respond to it? But I think what's been very eye-opening and heartwarming is I've had straight people, straight men in particular, just say like, I feel like I understand polyamory much better now, having seen the show. I like root for the couple. And that was one of the very nice surprises of making this, was that like, you know, people who don't exactly look like the characters can still appreciate the story and enjoy it and learn from it.
And then how nitty gritty are you going to get in the series? Because I've watched the first 3. I know you have more coming out, on differentiating between open relationships, thruples, polyamory, or are you just not? Because that could probably bog you down too. Like you wouldn't write anything, I'm sure.
It has been a question on my mind sometimes of like, how granular do I want to get? And like, I think as it comes, like what I really care about is like focusing on like these characters and what's their bliss. Like, so with Greg and Cam, does it mean like being in a throuple with Princeton or someone else? Or is it just kind of like more, you know, sexy friends is what works for them? Do the women want to explore an open relationship at all? Or is that really not their vibe? Like even Cam's parents come into it at one point and they have like a sexy secret that they're really embarrassed about. So it's all about like the thesis of the show is like whether you have like a completely polyamorous relationship swinging from the rafters or like completely monogamous or anything in between, when you have like consenting adults engaging and communicating, It's all good, baby. Just have a good time.
Right.
Use lube cleanup after.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, I know a couple couples in New York that are in them, and one of them has a boyfriend outside of their relationship, and this person's trans already, and the husband supports the relationship. Sometimes they even have the person over for dinner, so it's that kind of. But there's all sort of. I mean, I don't think there's one way, so it's really
definitely not. No, and I think like that's something that I want to ultimately do. The longer the show goes on, is like to almost have a high maintenance type of structure where like we get to introduce new characters, follow them home, see them what they're like. Like sometimes I think Greg and Cam won't even be in the episode because Papa's tired. He does a lot for this show. For just the reason that you said that there are so many different ways to do it. Like I have a friend who's sort of like in a non-monogamous polyquad is what they call it. And like they are raising kids together. Like she is not the central couple's parents, but like she is part of the family structure and part of their life. And there are really just so many ways to do it that, again, as long as like people are having the right conversations and enjoy each other's bodies still, where's the harm?
I love it.
I love it. So great.
Did you have another question, Kodi?
Do you have another question?
I do. I wanted to, because I was reading a little bit about, and I watched it, I believe it was episode 3, or the sex scenes that you've done with the character of Princeton. And Princeton, the actor, I heard that had a little bit more experience shooting sex scenes. And I'm just wondering, what was that like being naked and knowing that was your partner jealous of these things, or was it really clinical, or what can you just share with us?
Yeah. So first of all, yes, Jason, he loves when I say this. He had done more sex scenes than the rest of us. And he's like, great, I'm the slut. I'm like, no, your character is. It's different. So yeah, he was great at like making us very comfortable. Like sometimes we would be like between takes and just like sometimes you like, are just holding for camera or something. So you don't like get reclothed right away. And he would just like kind of break the tension by being like, we're naked right now. And I think like for Tim and me, Tim plays my boyfriend Cam, like it helped to just kind of like make the mood very chill and relaxed. And as to my boyfriend, now fiance, Matt, he was always like behind the camera as a producer, but he has also directed a few episodes of the show now. So he's very good at just being like, that doesn't look hot, fix it. We have a very direct relationship.
I love that. No, that's really great. Okay, so what can you tell us about the show? How can people watch it now? When are new episodes dropping? Give us the tea.
So the first 3 episodes right now are at opentoitseries.com. The first 2 can be streamed for free. The third one costs $3.33. 3. And a portion of the proceeds go to the Trans Latina Coalition, which is a charity Laganja supports and does some wonderful work. And then episode 4 is temporarily available for the rest of the month as a part of Wicked Queer, Boston's LGBTQ+ film festival. And if you go to updates on our website, opentoitseries.com, there's a direct link to that. If you just can't wait till Pride Month to watch the rest, because that's when I think we're going to release 4 through 6 and then 7 through 9, either end of this year or like sometime next. So.
Because are they already shot, those episodes?
Yes, so we've already edited 9 episodes now and are looking to film 10 through 12 before the end of the year. So, yeah, just keeping the train moving.
I love it.
To see.
We have a poll question that we want everyone to take, right, Kodi?
Oh, yeah. I'm throwing it up there right now.
It's kind of a basic one, but what is the question, Kodi?
Could you see yourself in a polyamorous relationship? The options are, yes, please, the more the merrier, or no, thank you, I'm not good at multitasking.
I like that. Okay, vote now. You can always go back to episode 460, which is this episode, and click on Tags Live and take our poll there. You have agreed, Frank, to stay on a little bit longer for some hot topics, to weigh in. Okay, great. So we wanted to talk about this story that was written by Mike Thurkelson about 3 gay men who are fighting for family equality. And we thought this kind of related a little bit to what we've been talking about here. What defines a family? It's a topic that found renewed interest in recent years. We can acknowledge family units outside of the norm of mom, dad, and children. A single mother and her children are a family. 2 men and their dogs are a family. A guardian and the child they took in are a family. But this couple actually was 2 married. There were a couple, right, Kodi?
Yes,
married
they were a couple. Yes. And then they met another gentleman and they brought him into the relationship. And now they are a 3-tiered relationship. I don't want to call it a throuple.
Yeah,
because
so we're talking about Mitch and Benjamin Rolam, who are both 37, and their partner, Ben Rodriguez, 35, are hoping to become the second gay couple to have 3 parents listed on a birth certificate or certificate of adoption. So Mitch and Benjamin have known each other for 12 years, and they met Rodriguez, age 35, in 2018. With such a long history of love already, they decided they want to really do this. And I think this is really kind of breakthrough and amazing because it's really taking it to the next level of 3 parents. And I don't know, what were your thoughts, Kodi, when you heard this story?
Well, I thought it was just so beautiful, and it further pushes the boundaries of what's considered a family. I think, communal family dynamics are valid, step parents are valid, adoptive parents are valid, and this is just as valid. A polyamorous relationship, adopting a child, or I think they're going to have they're going to do surrogacy as well. That's just as valid. And let's face it, the Mormons beat it to us, okay? So yes, let's do all of this. Let's make this happen more. I'm so happy for this couple because, well, this throuple, because they are giving love to that child, and that's the most important thing.
Yeah, Frank, in just hearing the brief story of this, what are your thoughts on this?
More love, more presents. I don't see the problem.
Right. Exactly.
Yes.
And imagine having 3 dads, like how spectacular that would be. So I think that's really good. Teddy wrote, so one is dad, daddy, and poppy, because I like that too.
Well, Ben Rodriguez at 35 can be zaddy. So,
That's true. Right. Yeah, exactly. Good point. Okay. We love giving advice, and there was a Reddit thread that we'd love to give our take on. They wrote, confront or just open the relationship. And again, Frank, we think that you would have something to say on this. They wrote, I've been together with this wonderful guy for 6 months, and it's still great, but I noticed some suspicious activities. Text notification was turned off, and 2 condoms were missing. Oh no! One found opened, and we don't even use condoms. At the beginning of dating, we talked. We will open the relationship at some point, but we haven't had deep conversations yet. I'm totally okay with an open relationship, and have no intentions to break up with him. But above findings make me a little nervous. So my question is if I should confront him or just have a conversation about opening the relationship, not mentioning it. This is my first time to have open relationships, so I appreciate any advice. There's an edit to the story, and they wrote, I went to his place with short notice, just like 5 minutes ahead, and he welcomed me. When I asked about our relationship status, he said it's closed, and we haven't had conversations about opening it up. When I asked about an open condom that I found, he was very confused. After 2 to 3 minutes of silence, he said he uses a butt plug occasionally to jack off and uses a condom because it's easier than douching. Oh, wow. His phone notification was back today, and he said he silenced it before he went to a move yesterday. I don't know. This is an interesting one. Do you have any thoughts on advice for him, Frank? Just that first thoughts on, did you confront somebody if you think your boyfriend is cheating on you and avoid, or just go to should we open this relationship up?
Yeah, I'm a confrontational person, so all for the confront, especially because, here's another misconception I would love to clear up. Polyamory and distrust do not need to go hand in hand. So and I appreciate that the partner wants to maybe not put them on the spot, but also some of this behavior is suspicious. And I personally hearing it, just my personal take, I'm like, it sounds like a lot of excuses for a lot. It's kind of smoke, there's fire. So I feel like there is some not on the level stuff happening. And I don't know at this point, if the person has said, okay, I'm not doing any of this, it's that person's choice. I on the outside am feeling like not the most trusting vibes of what's happening. But certainly they do not need to like not have the conversation of like, hey, something seems weird here, to be polite. That is not a prerequisite of being in an open relationship, that when your partner is deceptive, you just look the other way. And frankly, like when I see open relationships not working, it's because one partner is feeling guilty or ashamed and like kind of starts breaking the rules, hoping the other person won't confront them. So absolutely, you are half of the relationship, maybe more than half if you're an egotist, and like you don't need to like make yourself smaller just to accommodate this person's, you know, whims, I think.
I agree with you. I mean, we say it all the time on the show. We've had guests on the show before. Communication, 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 and even more communication. But that's just in general with couples. But then you layer in more and polyamorous, and which can be beautiful, but that's just going to require that much more communication and checking in with your partners at all times to see, because things change, you change. And so I just think so much more talking. Kodi, what are your thoughts on or advice?
I definitely agree with you guys. I think that this is these are all red flags. I think that if you already distrust your partner this far into it, I feel like they haven't been, I don't know if you mentioned it, but they haven't been together that long. So for there to be this level of distrust, then maybe you should just call it and move on to something where you can actually build that trust, because that is the focal point of a relationship, trust. So yeah.
Yeah, we are live, and Callie Dad wrote in, I'm willing to concede that there are strange coincidences. Okay, referencing the point that
the butt plug and the condom, I think is what.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. I mean,
I'm like,
that
girl.
edit was interesting because it's almost like he did try and have a conversation with this partner, and the guy had all the answers. But do you believe that? It sounds a little strange.
I would also be curious what the person who was on the witness stand's tone was. If it was kind of like, oh my gosh, no, I love you, I don't want you to think that, I can explain, or like kind of like, well, obviously it was this. Why you like? Because if it's the latter, then another reason to be concerned. If like you're getting talked down to, as opposed to like, I absolutely see why you thought what you did.
Right, and I don't think there's any obvious butt plug condom usage that I know of that is obvious. Yeah, exactly. So. Anyway, thanks for playing on that. We want to hear from you too. And lastly, if you want to stick around with us, see if you are up for this trend. This is kind of an interesting story of short shorts. There's summer of the A24 bottoms. There's these new short shorts. The filmmaking giant that's produced an array of award-winning films and series, from Everything Everywhere All at Once, Uncut Gems, Moonlight, one of my favorite movies, Euphoria, is coming out. This is so strange. Like, they're coming out with their own brand of shorts, and it has already been identified in its target market, the gays, right? They have a 5.5-inch inseam for the new A24 bottoms outdoor shorts. And everyone's into these. They're pretty cute. Kodi, I know you saw them. We don't have them listed here.
I put the link in the chat. Yeah,
I'm about to take a look.
Yeah. You know what? I would.
Oh, those are cute.
Yeah, I'm one of those that have like the booty, but like I either have to wear short, or I have to wear board shorts. If it's that in between, my legs do not fill it out right. I have the weirdly, I know how to work my body, so I could maybe wear these. Would you wear these, Frank? Are you a short?
I think so. They seem like a good intermediate length. Like I could be, and also advertising like, yes, I watch good cinema. Why not?
Yeah, I'm here for it too. Exactly.
Perfect. Yes, I am here for it as well. I love anything short, and I love crop tops. So the more body, the better, is what I have to say. Yes.
And staying on the same wavelength, we'll post that on TAGSPodcast.com. But there was a recent Reddit thread that asked the question, does anyone else wear sexy underwear on a daily basis? I don't have that kind of paycheck to buy that many sexy underwear. But I mean, so they wrote, I used to wear cotton boxers briefs daily, and I realized I was gay later in life at 27. So it wasn't until my late 20s that I owned underwear that weren't average: cotton boxers, boxer briefs. I bought bought some sexy underwear when I first became sexually active as a bottom, a couple of jock straps, male thongs, and since I'm unfamiliar with the terms, let's just call them silky feeling, tighter, sexy version of boxer briefs. I would still wear boxer briefs on a daily basis, but sometimes I'd get lazy with laundry and have to wear one of my sexy underwear choices for the day. I'm really bad with laundry, so this is a common experience, and I realized that when I was wearing sexy underwear, I felt more confident and comfortable, so I started wearing them more often until I phased out boxer briefs completely. Whether it's a jockstrap, thong, tight silky briefs, etc., that is what I wear as underwear on a daily basis. My confidence has been higher than ever, and I really enjoy it. Is this weird? Frank, is this weird?
As someone who's worn a jockstrap to a business meeting, I've not done that actually.
Ooh, wow.
However, now I kind of want to just be like, ooh, power move. No, honestly, like sometimes when it's laundry day, like I'll just wear a jockstrap, because like mine are pretty comfortable, so I have no problem with that. Especially if it makes you feel like sexy and powerful. Like move through the day that way. Works for me.
That's so funny that you wore that to a power meeting once before, because I heard a friend of mine told me he went to like a business meeting and he lunged in to give this person a hug. Maybe they knew each other, and he swore he could feel underneath this man's suit a harness that the guy was wearing. And he was like, oh my God, this guy's wearing a harness. And, maybe that was that guy's superpower move, that it just gives him that confidence. I can tell you, when I put on a pair of underwear that is like, needs to go in the garbage, it's got too many holes in it, and it's not cute, I feel so differently with like a sexy pair of, I have some sexy underwear and I feel more powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Do you, Kodi?
So,
do you even wear underwear?
Yeah, today I am.
Okay.
But I think that as a person with an underwear fetish, and I do not have the budget for an underwear fetish, but I make it work somehow. I find that when I do wear sexy underwear, it just makes me feel better about myself. It raises my self-esteem. During the wintertime, I have these long johns that make my ass look amazing. But
long johns.
Yeah, but if you wear regular underwear underneath them, then it doesn't really show your butt that much. So I would put on a jockstrap underneath it, and I would just walk around living my whole life. I would think that everybody was looking at me and I was getting all the attention. And I say, do what makes you happy at the end of the day.
I love it.
Well, that's why you got to get those assless long johns, so you're still like warm, but also showing off the boobs.
We need to. Can you cut this out of the episode? We need to make that happen. The prototype is on the way. Okay.
Verbal trademark.
I love it. Oh my gosh, so much fun. Frank, thanks so much for playing along. We want to thank our special guest, Frank Arthur Smith. How can people follow you, and how can they follow the show?
Yes, so I'm at frank.arthur.smith on Instagram and TikTok. The Instagram is about me, the show, thirst traps, and the TikToks. Right now it's in a cute animals phase. Next week it'll be something different, so stay tuned. And the show is at opentoitseries.com. If you subscribe, you'll always find out the latest about when we've got events near you or when we have new episodes coming out.
Well, congratulations on it. I'm hooked already. I'm probably going to watch episode 4 tonight, but can't wait for the other episodes to come. We'll list all this on TAGSPodcast.com, episode 460. Thank you, Frank.
Thank you, Frank. Yeah. You're a joy.
Thank
now,
you. This has been a pleasure.
Away.
Well, I guess I'm close to it.
Oh.
Love it.
There we go.
Thank you. That was perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you. This has been great. Come to LA. Do an LA episode sometime.
We will. I'm from there originally, so absolutely. Definitely.
There we go.
Bye, Frank. Thank you.
Dave.
Okay. Bye. Oh my gosh. So fun.
So much fun. He's so adorable. It's so funny. Oh my gosh.
Yes. Back to that comment of the guy that had the harness on. Well, that dude was Bruce Wayne. Good one. I like that. Or Dick Grayson. Who's Dick Grayson?
Batman and the original Robin.
Okay,
that turned into Nightwing.
Thank you. You're the source for all comics. I love it. You can always follow my co-host Kodi, my partner in crime. He's a life coach. Follow him at KMD Coaching. But you can also follow him at Mr. Maurice on Instagram. Mr. Maurice. Follow us, the show, at TAGSPodcast. Go to TAGSPodcast.com for sure. And show notes are there. You can find out about episodes, our sponsors, and all. We really appreciate it. Follow me personally. I am _Steve V. Still in Puerto Vallarta for a little while longer. So a lot of thirstiness going on over here that I'll continue to post. Okay, so much fun, Kodi. In the meantime, thanks live virtual audience. We really appreciate it. And in the meantime, continue having hot, gay sex. Yes, lovely. No thirst trap today. They didn't have it. Sorry.
I know.
Bye, you guys. Thank you.
Bye, guys.